Hey guys, my name's Caleb, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and whether or not we are at the peak of this year's market cycle, or are we just getting warmed up, and do we have a lot of bull run road ahead of us? Is there a lot of upside? We're going to be looking at the data to see what that suggests. Before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe to stay tuned and updated, and don't miss out on all the latest research and updates in the space. So again, thanks guys for watching. Let's get straight into it. So Bitcoin today is Thursday, March 12th. We are looming around the all-time high, 58,000 back February 21st. Just a couple weeks ago, we hit 58.1, and then we had a massive pullback, almost 30% pullback. And then over the last week, 2 weeks, we've been slowly gaining up as we've come up. And for the first time, we're retesting that 58,000. Now, in the past, let's look back at the last year. In the past, let me scroll just in the last like 8 months. Once we hit this 20,000, actually this is going to show 40,000. I need to go back a little bit more. Oh, here we go. So once we hit this December 1st, we came over to the previous all-time high of 20,000. We tested it near it at least a couple times, and then had a pullback, tested it again, didn't want to cross over that, it became a resistance, and we pulled back again, and then we finally broke through it. So are we going to be seeing something similar with this all-time high? Well, this one, as you can see, we reached 40,000, almost 41,000. And then we came not quite back to it and pulled back. And then once we came back to it again, we retested it, went sideways a little bit, and then just absolutely blew past it. So are we about to do that, or is this the market cycle peak? Let's look at the data to see what that suggests. So this is one of my absolute favorite models to look at. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but I can't stress enough how accurate this thing has been to predicting the price of Bitcoin. This is the stock to flow model. And if you guys aren't sure what that is, basically it's measuring how much Bitcoin is flowing or produced every year, and compared to the stock or the supply that we currently have. So right now, the current supply that we have is 18.5, little over 18.5 million Bitcoin, and the supply cap is 21 million. So that's all that will ever exist once we mine that. And every 4 years, the supply and the rate at which we mine more Bitcoin gets twice as hard to mine. So we get the supply cut in half. So that's why you see, I'll explain this purple line here in a second, but if you see this purple line, every time that spikes, that's whenever the halvening event happens and Bitcoin gets increasingly harder to mine. So the supply and demand, everybody knows supply and demand is what creates the markets and moves the markets, gets a lot more of a push here. So that's what we're seeing. And I'm going to point out a few things. By the way, so we see, real quick, I'll make this clear. We have a 10-day stock to flow and a 463-day stock to flow. So a 10-day is just taking the last 10 days as an average. The 463-day is obviously taking the last 463 days as an average for the stock to flow. That's why you see, obviously in this one, whenever the halvening happens, it jumps up because the last 10 days here is very high compared to if you took the last 463, it gradually moves up. And Bitcoin seems to follow. If you look, you can't even really see this light blue line most of the time because Bitcoin is pretty much on track with it, except just after every time this halvening happens. Look at this. We had a halvening here, and then a lot of people find out about Bitcoin. There's a supply shock, and then we have a lot of newbies, you could say, into the space, and there's an overvaluation that goes on. And then this one actually was a double peak, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So we had this market cycle and then came back. This market cycle right after the halvening, and then we kind of came back down. And then this is the one everyone, or at least a lot of people were familiar with, the 2017. We had a halvening in 2016, in May 2016, and then we ran up all the way through the end of December. So we just had one mid, I think it was, maybe I'm wrong, I think it was May. Yeah, okay, just kidding. May is this most recent one. And then now we're seeing the results of that. So the whole reason I'm talking about this is because I am long-term bullish on the fundamentals of blockchain and Bitcoin. I'm not going to be talking about that in this video. If you guys don't already know the fundamentals, I highly recommend you look into that first before even looking at stuff like this. But this is a really good indication, in my opinion, of what we're going to be seeing. So as you can see here, I really like this to the right. We see this colored chart this is the days until the halving event. So blue, if we see here, right? So it's blue, the numbers kind of get in the way a little bit, but the chart goes from green to blue, and that's whenever we're getting close to the halving event, and then it resets to red as the halving event happens right here, and we see it. You see the purple line spike up. So basically, if you see here, back in the first market cycle after the halving event, right, we took it all the way up, and it was all the way up into the green here. A crazy overvaluation, was a one peak market cycle. Then in 2012, when we had this run up, it was what they called a double peak. So we ran up, we're crazy overvaluated, almost went back down to the stock to flow 463 day, not quite there, and then did a double peak, ran up again until we came down and people were able to accumulate some more. And in the last bull run, we didn't quite do that. We followed up with the 463 day stock to flow until the peak of it, and we came all the way up to, everybody knows the famous almost $20,000 Bitcoin that happened. So look how accurate this has been over the whole course of the stock to the flow. In my opinion, I am not selling a single Bitcoin until I think we're going to be going well into, the end of this year, or maybe even the beginning of next year. There very well could be a double peak in this cycle. And again, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If anything, I want this video to inspire you to research and take more time to research in the things that you invest in. But this is my opinion. I think that we may be experiencing a double peak. We are not, as you could see, as crazy above valuation from the stock to flow as previously before. We're pretty much on track with it, a little bit overvalued, but that's to be expected after a halving event. So in my opinion, although yes, short term, if we zoom out here, this is from, let's see when this starts, July of 2020. Yes, we've had a crazy run up, and we blew past the last all-time high, came up, pulled back, came up again. Although, yes, we may be retesting this and pulling back down. We may go back down to, this right here, this $50,000 resistance, or I'm sorry, hopefully a new support that was a resistance before. And we may be going all the way back down to 40 if this bounces off here. But for me, that's not, oh my God, I need to sell my Bitcoin to make sure I capitalize on this. For me, it's an opportunity to reaccumulate, because I don't want to be the guy to sell here and then I actually end up being right long-term, where my long-term thesis becomes true, but I got too greedy in the short term and sold in hopes of, a big pullback, and got greedy and ended up losing. So for me, I try to, mitigate my risk and mitigate my regrets, actually, is the main thing I try to do, and try to realize, hey, I don't want to regret, selling off on a part and being too greedy. So I use it as an opportunity to accumulate more if this were to happen. So I always plan for that and, just hope for the best. But in no way, shape, or form do I think we are anywhere near a market cycle peak. I think we're going to be, like I said, going all the way until the end of this year, maybe even, if we're lucky, the beginning of next year to another bull run or a full bull run. So that's my opinion. Like I said, guys, let me know what you guys think down below in the description. Or I'm sorry, not in the description, in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, and I'd love to hear your opinion. Again, not financial advice. Do your own research, please. But tell me what you guys think. Are we just getting started? Are we getting warmed up? Are you guys taking profits here? What's your strategy going forward over this next one? It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, right here as we test this all-time high. A lot of the other altcoins are kind of on the bench waiting here to see what's going to be happening as Bitcoin hits this. Everybody bows down to the king once the king takes some new ground. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I want to hear your guys' strategy and what you guys are doing, and also what you guys want to see next. So let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.